Baldur's Gate 2 is beautiful. And until last year, it was my favorite video game of all time. Baldur's Gate 2 accomplishes what Baldur's Gate 1 and 3 also accomplishes. That is to say, a D&D adventure in a single-player computer game fully realized. But where Baldur's Gate 1 and 3 deal with levels 1 through 8 and up to 12 respectively, Baldur's Gate 2 concerns up to level 40 characters. To put that in perspective, in Baldur's Gate 1, we go from fighting wolves to fighting a man in armor, albeit a very scary man. In Baldur's Gate 2, we go from fighting dangerous golems and doppelgangers and elite assassins to battling entire armies, demigods, and having tea with Cyric, the god of strife, as more or less equals. And these higher combat stakes fit the story. In Baldur's Gate 2, you start in the middle of Athkatla. Well, not really, but we'll get to him. A giant city where if you stumble into the wrong house, you will be confronted with the inner sanctum of a lich that will wipe the floor with your level 9 party. Combine these high-pressure combat situations with some of the best writing in a game, and baby, we got dog stew going. Let's trick these trolls and get the flail of ages. It's like Fallout New Vegas, but you start in New Vegas, and the city is way bigger, and the Cazadors live just down the street. This early chapter of Baldur's Gate 2 is all about getting enough money to buy your way into progressing the plot, either for saving a childhood friend or murderous vengeance, or both, depending on your character's motivations. And that is the perfect excuse to go enjoy this high-level D&D adventuring saga guilt-free. These are the best side quests in a game, from foiling a beholder cult with casual dead gods thrown in, to solving a series of skinning murders that has an impact 40 hours later, to literally traveling the astral planes on behalf of a theater troupe. And it says something. I have like 10 other quests I really wanted to mention, but this isn't my long Baldur's Gate video, that's coming later. We are, spoilers, a child of the Lord of Murder, a Bhaal spawn, and while the joy of this game is just wandering around and feeling like a small piece of a grander world, our divine essence also makes us a target. And I said you started in Athkatla, but that isn't strictly true, because you actually start in the clutches of John Irenicus, a villain so good I'm not going to talk about him too much, because you should genuinely play Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 just to get the full impact of this amazingly voiced antagonist by the late, great David Warner.
It is a portrait of what has happened and what may happen. Do you cling to the past, or can you see through the pain?
But in brief, you end Baldur's Gate 1 as a hero, level 8 on top of the world, nothing can stop you, smash cut to being tortured and imprisoned to such a degree the trauma of this beginning comes up in a game 20 years later. You escape, get into Chapter 2 to explore Athkatla and a few really well-realized locations beyond the city, shout out Trade Meet, and Chapter 2 can and kinda should be the bulk of the game as you explore all there is to offer before paying up and chasing down Irenicus. Normally, you'd call this a clear pacing problem, but they had such good content they kinda had to put the bulk of it somewhere, and as far as problems to have, that is a great one. When you do catch up to Irenicus after doing those aforementioned great side quests, you spend the latter half of the game chasing this evil bastard mage down, and that sprint feels earned and fun, to the extent that when it turns into a marathon, you are more than happy to follow the pace after having such grand freedom. From a prison for mages with excellent dungeon design, to a drow Underdark journey that feels like its own game, to an entire side chapter with Githyanki and Saghaugen that you can just skip. I'm serious, this entire area you do not have to come here and you have to do extra work to even do so. That is a game confident in what it has to show you. I love it when a game does that. Oh, wait a minute. It's the level difference and focus on specific encounters over a sprawling wilderness that makes it just a little better than Baldur's Gate 1 for me, but it's by playing both and taking your guide from game to game that you will actually feel like an adventurer on a grand quest, and it is earned. And that grand quest does end in vengeance on John Irenicus, albeit at a cost. And again, you're a hero, but you're also the child of the Lord of Murder, and that has to be resolved. The following will be blasphemous to my fellow longtime Baldur's Gate fans, but as beautiful as this game is, Throne of Bhaal is kind of the worst bit of Baldur's Gate 2, which is a shame because it's a DLC that's like a third the size of Shadows of Amn. For me, it has the same problem Icewind Dale has, in that it's way too combat heavy, which makes sense thematically. Mind, this is telling the story of the War of the Bhaal spawn, the glorious, bloody final act as the children of murder descend upon another. But the god being guiding us and giving us exposition is no Irenicus, giving all-timer monologues in our dreams, and that hurts Throne of Bhaal by comparison.
You will do what you must, become what you must, or others will pay for your cowardice. You will accept the gifts offered to you.
A bit of that gravitas is there with Kevin Michael Richardson's return as Sarevok, and his arc can be more fully explored here, and it's nice to see Imoen get some more post-Irenicus content, but overall, Throne of Bhaal speeds toward a conclusion when it probably should have been its own game. With all that said, the battles and battle music in Throne of Bhaal are all top-notch, and this is the game that set in stone the idea of your companions getting their own send-offs. The bow is tied, the storybook is closed. The story of Gorion's Ward gets a proper ending, rushed or not, it does feel final. Your character survived the Bhaalspawn crisis. Let's not talk about Abdel Adrian. As someone who really loves Baldur's Gate 3, I wonder if recommending Baldur's Gate 2 is something I'm even doing here, and I think I am. It's not the surface-level presence of Elminster and Volo and Jaheira and Minsk and Vacania that would make Baldur's Gate 3 folks fans of 2. I think it's that Larian captured the same central design of Baldur's Gate 2 that BioWare laid down. Make a grand world, spare no expense possible when it comes to choices, and then let the character determine their fate. Few games truly live up to that sentence I just laid out, especially when different developers work on the same IP, but Baldur's Gate, as a trilogy, absolutely does. Also, this little bit with Aerie and Mazzy and Jan and Keldoran getting a shout out, man, thanks Larian. I got more to gush about when it comes to 3, but that was beautiful.